Before empires rose, before writing shaped history, before the wheels of civilization began to turn, there was a people who built the first foundations of our world. This is the story of the Sumerians. 1. The birth of beer, humanity's first brew. Nearly 6,000 years ago, in the broad sun-drenched plains of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians made a discovery that would forever change human culture: the creation of beer. This was not the crisp drink we know today, but a thick, nutritious, fermented mixture of barley and herbs. It was so important that they even had a goddess devoted to it, Ninkasi, the divine brewer. Their famous hymn to Ninkasi wasn't just a prayer. It was a recipe, a song that guided the brewing process, passed from generation to generation. For the Sumerians, beer wasn't simply a drink. It was food, medicine, ritual, and celebration. Workers received it as part of their wages. Priests offered it to the gods. Families consumed it during gatherings and festivals. And in the warm glow of the brewing fires, the foundations of communal life were forged. 2. Cities guarded by gods, the divine order. But the world of the Sumerians was not only built on labor and beer, it was built upon faith, a worldview in which every city was a divine creation. Each Sumerian city-state had its own god or goddess. Inanna, radiant queen of love and war, ruled over Uruk. Enlil, the lord of storm and wind, protected Nippur. Enki, the god of fresh water and wisdom, guided Eridu. Utu, the sun god, illuminated Sippar. To the Sumerians, cities were not invented by humans. They were founded by divine hands, shaped for humanity to serve as caretakers. Temples were built at the very center of each city, towering over homes and marketplaces like stairways between the mortal world and the heavens. Inside these temples, priests sang hymns, burned fragrant incense, and cared for the gods' statues as if they were living beings. Life was rhythm. Life was ritual. Life was service to the divine. 3. The Epic of Gilgamesh, humanity's oldest story. Out of this world of gods and faith emerged one of the earliest and greatest tales ever written. The Epic of Gilgamesh. Pressed into clay tablets with careful lines of cuneiform, the story tells of Gilgamesh, the mighty king of Uruk, 2/3 divine, 1/3 human. His arrogance angered the gods, so they created Enkidu, a wild man shaped from clay, to challenge him. Yet instead of becoming enemies, they became brothers. Together they battled monstrous beasts, Humbaba of the cedar forest, the bull of heaven sent by the furious goddess Ishtar. But when Enkidu fell ill and died, Gilgamesh came face to face with the truth that no king can escape. Mortality consumed by grief, he set out on a journey to discover the secret of eternal life. He crossed deserts, climbed mountains, and passed through the waters of death, only to learn that immortality is not for men. In the end, he returned to Uruk and looked upon its mighty walls. And he understood, a city built by human hands, stories written on clay. These were the ways to live forever. The Epic of Gilgamesh isn't just a tale of gods and kings, it is the first great exploration of what it means to be human. 4. Mathematics, a civilization built on numbers. But the Sumerians were not only storytellers and believers, they were the architects of structure and logic. They invented a number system that still shapes our world today, the base 60 or sexagesimal system. Because of them, an hour has 60 minutes, a minute has 60 seconds, a circle has 360 degrees. They used clay tablets as mathematical tools, recording taxes, trade, land divisions, and astronomical observations. Their math allowed them to measure fields for agriculture, track the movements of stars, predict lunar cycles, build cities with remarkable precision. They created multiplication tables, geometry problems, and even early forms of algebra. When we look at the modern world, clocks, maps, engineering, we are still walking in the footprints of the Sumerians. 5. The curses on the clay, warnings from the ancient world. Yet among the thousands of tablets the Sumerians left behind, some contain messages far more ominous, not prayers, not myths, not mathematics, but curses. Boundary stones, temple markers, and legal tablets were often inscribed with warnings meant to protect sacred places and land rights. They read, "Whoever breaks this stone, may the great gods tear out his foundation. May his name be erased from the memory of mankind. May his descendants wander in darkness. May his life be cut short." These curses served a purpose: to create fear, to ensure justice, to preserve order. In a world where the gods were always watching, violating these boundaries meant inviting divine wrath. The curses remind us of something important. The Sumerians were not only builders of civilization, they were defenders of it. In 6, legacy of a forgotten people. And so, when we step back and look at the Sumerians, we see a civilization woven from many threads. The first brewers of beer, the builders of god-guarded cities, the creators of the world's oldest epic, the mathematicians of time and space, and the authors of the earliest written curses. Their world may have turned to dust, their temples collapsed, their language long fallen silent. But through clay tablets baked by time, through stories older than history, through numbers that still govern our clocks and calendars, the Sumerians live on. Their legacy is not forgotten. It echoes in every hour we count, every myth we tell, every city we build. This was the dawn of civilization,